Part 1. What do we have left at the end of life? Friends, on this long journey through life, each of us carries dreams, ambitions, and desires. We often chase after fame, power, and wealth, hoping these things will define our lives. But as the years slip by, in the quiet of our later days, we can't help but wonder, what do we actually have left at the end? Life is fragile, like a gentle breeze that passes quickly. In just a blink, day turns to night, and just when we think we have time, it quietly slips away. Those years that could have taught us valuable lessons about health and purpose often get lost in the race for ambition and fleeting pleasures. It's only when illness strikes that we realize health is an irreplaceable treasure. Without it, everything else loses its meaning. The things we once chased, the things we once thought were important, reveal themselves as illusions, fading as time moves on. Let this reality bring us back to what truly matters, guiding us to a life of meaning. By appreciating our health and the things that genuinely count, we start to see that all else is just like the wind, passing through briefly, then quietly disappearing. Your health is your greatest treasure. Our body, like a sturdy ship on the open sea, quietly carries us through each stage of life. It's with us through every joy and sorrow, every success and failure. Whether life is calm or stormy, this vessel keeps us going, year after year, without a single complaint. When we're young, it's easy to get lost in our goals and overlook that this very body is our most valuable possession. As we rush through life, we often take our health for granted, assuming our ship will sail smoothly forever. But when an unexpected storm hits, and cracks start to show, only then do we understand the unseen value we've ignored. Our body isn't just a tool for reaching dreams. It's a bridge that links our soul to the present, tying together what we long for with what we already have. Let's care for and appreciate our bodies as we do our souls. Only this body has the strength to carry us through life's storms and bring us to the peace and contentment of our final days. Our body, like a small ship on a vast ocean, is a priceless gift, a treasure beyond replacement. Once upon a time, in a small seaside fishing village, there lived a fisherman who enjoyed a peaceful, simple life. Each morning, he would go out to sea, catch just enough fish to feed his family, and then spend the rest of his day relaxing, playing with his children, and chatting with friends on the beach. One day, a wealthy businessman came to the village on vacation. Seeing the fisherman lounging on the sand, he was puzzled and asked, "Why don't you go out and catch more fish?" The fisherman replied calmly, "I've already caught enough for today." The businessman said, "If you caught more fish, you could sell them, save up, and buy a bigger boat. With a bigger boat, you could catch even more fish, make more money, and eventually build a fleet of boats. Then you could become a big businessman, make millions of dollars, and have the freedom to relax and enjoy time with your family." The fisherman smiled and replied, "But that's exactly what I'm doing now. I already have time with my family. I rest, and I enjoy life every day. Why would I spend more years working just to get what I already have?" The businessman was silent, unable to answer. Dear friends, perhaps happiness isn't something to be found through wealth or power, but lies in the simple moments of everyday life. Enjoy what you have, treasure it, and take care of yourself because your body will be with you throughout this journey called life. Appreciating the present moment. The philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "If you are depressed, you're living in the past. If you are anxious, you're living in the future. But if you're at peace, you're living in the present." These words are more than just philosophy. They're a valuable reminder of how fleeting and precious time truly is. We often get caught up in regrets about the past or worries about the future, forgetting that life is happening right here, right now. We may spend a lifetime chasing distant goals, but in the end, all we truly have is the present. Every moment is unique and unrepeatable. Each day that passes isn't just time slipping away, It's also a lost chance to live, to love, and to feel. Life isn't something to wait for or prepare for someday in the future. It's a series of moments happening now, and how we live these moments defines the quality of our lives. As we age, we begin to see that happiness isn't something far away. It's right here in the small details of life: the morning sunlight through the window, laughter with friends, and warm family meals. A rich life isn't measured by money or achievements, but by how present we are in each moment. Don't let worries about the future or regrets about the past rob you of the precious moments you have now. Yes, money matters, but it's not everything. It can buy us the material things we need, but it can't buy the deep joy or peace in our hearts. A big house might provide comfort, but a loving home is where true happiness lives. Money can buy luxury, but it can't buy health or peace of mind. So why let it rule our lives? Remember, we come into this world with nothing, and we leave with nothing. The most important thing is to enjoy each present moment, to fill our days with joy from simple pleasures. It could be savoring your favorite foods, wearing clothes that make you feel happy, or visiting places you've always wanted to see. Don't live just to accumulate. Live to feel and experience. And more importantly, be ready to help others. The joy of doing something kind for someone else is one of the greatest gifts of growing older. Love and kindness not only enrich the lives of those around you, but also nourish your own soul. After years of dedicating yourself to work, family, and children, it's time to live for yourself. This is the phase where you can freely pursue your passions, follow personal interests, and embrace peace. Life isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about living fully in a way that brings you happiness. Stay active, but don't overdo it. Enjoy good food, but don't obsess over rigid rules. Balance is key. The same goes for social life. Don't let loneliness bring you down, but don't let the noise crowd out your inner peace either. Your later years can be vibrant and colorful if you know how to connect with friends, join clubs, and pursue shared interests, build relationships, create beautiful memories, and find joy in the small things. Never think you're too old to make a difference, because that thought alone will keep you trapped. A positive outlook will help you face the challenges of aging. True happiness isn't just about health or money. It's also about how you view life and manage your mindset. So, let go of the endless chase for fame and fortune. Allow your mind to rest. Bask in the warmth of the sun, and enjoy each moment. Life feels complete when you live with an open heart, filled with joy. If you have a little money, use it to bring happiness to yourself. After all, one day, everything will be left behind for others. And if you're healthy today, cherish it as a priceless gift. In these later years, reach out to friends, share a cup of tea or morning coffee, reminisce about the past, or simply talk about the present. On weekends, go for a walk, ride a bike, or just breathe in the fresh air and let your mind settle, finding peace within. These are the simple joys that aging brings. We might own big homes and valuable possessions, but in reality, nothing belongs to us forever. When we leave, all our material things stay behind. What truly belongs to us isn't gold, jewels, or fancy cars, but our health, the freedom to live as we wish, and the happiness of sharing moments with loved ones. These are the true treasures, the real wealth we carry with us as we grow old. Part 2. What is the purpose of life? In the Gospel of Luke, there's a parable about the rich man and Lazarus. Jesus tells the story of a wealthy man who lived a life of luxury, dressed in fine clothes, and enjoyed his wealth daily. In stark contrast, outside his home was a poor, sick beggar named Lazarus. Lazarus lay by the rich man's gate, longing for just the scraps that fell from his table. Yet no one showed him compassion. Only the dogs would come and lick his wounds. After death, the two men met very different fates. Lazarus was taken to heaven, where he found comfort in the arms of Abraham, a symbol of peace and happiness. The rich man, on the other hand, found himself in a place of torment. From this place of suffering, he looked up and saw Lazarus with Abraham and pleaded for Lazarus to dip his finger in water to ease his thirst. But Abraham reminded him that in life, he had enjoyed wealth and comfort, while Lazarus had suffered. Now, justice was being served. The rich man then begged Abraham to send Lazarus back to the living to warn his brothers, hoping they could avoid his fate. But Abraham replied that they already had the teachings of Moses and the prophets. If they wouldn't listen to them, they wouldn't be persuaded even if someone rose from the dead. This story teaches us that while the world may praise wealth, power, and success, God values kindness, compassion, and justice. Though Lazarus suffered greatly on earth, in God's eyes, he was worthy of reward for his patience, faith, and endurance. Wealth isn't the ultimate purpose of life. The rich man in this parable represents wealth and privilege, but he used his life to indulge in luxury, ignoring the suffering of Lazarus, who lay right outside his gate. Upon his death, the rich man realized that all his accumulated wealth meant nothing when faced with judgment and the afterlife. His riches and status couldn't protect him from the torment he now faced. This parable emphasizes that life's purpose isn't to amass wealth or power, as we can't take those things with us when we leave this world. Compassion and kindness are true values. In the parable, the rich man lived a life of luxury but completely ignored Lazarus, who was suffering just outside his door. Lazarus, sick and starving, never received a moment's kindness, not even a crumb from the rich man's table. This wasn't just a display of indifference, it was a profound lack of compassion, which is at the core of our humanity. Compassion is what binds us together through love and kindness. It pushes us to look beyond the divides of wealth, status, or power and see the shared humanity we all possess, our vulnerability and fragility. When we embrace compassion, we don't just live for ourselves, we open our hearts to those who need support. It's only when we can truly feel another's pain that we live in the spirit of love that Jesus taught. Though rich in material wealth, the man in the story was spiritually poor. He was trapped in the satisfaction of material and social status, which made him blind to the suffering of others. This indifference not only caused Lazarus to suffer, but also led to the rich man's own spiritual emptiness. Though he enjoyed luxury, he lacked the most important connection of all, the bond of compassion and empathy with others. Our choices shape our eternal destiny. Life is short. 100 years will pass in the blink of an eye. Many religions emphasize that our time on earth is merely a temporary stop. What truly matters is where our soul will go when we leave this world. We have the freedom to choose how we live, but those choices will ultimately determine our eternal fate. So, each of us has a responsibility not only to ourselves but to those around us. The wealth and fame we accumulate are fleeting, but the kindness we spread will live on, remembered by others and treasured by God. Friends, what do you think the true purpose of life is? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The question of life's purpose is one of the three great questions humanity has always pondered. Who are we? Where do we come from? And where are we going? These aren't just philosophical musings. They go to the heart of life's meaning and invite us to deeply reflect on our existence. Humanity's search for purpose. For thousands of years, humanity has relentlessly sought answers to these profound questions through philosophy, religion, science, and personal experience. Perhaps, though, the purpose of life isn't found in a single answer for all, but in the unique meaning each person discovers on their journey. May we each find a fulfilling answer in our own way, a blend of heart, mind, and experience that reveals life's deeper truths. Reflecting on these questions helps us live with greater purpose, understand ourselves more deeply, and appreciate the values we truly hold dear. Is life just a fleeting journey, or is there something greater waiting for us beyond? The answer might be right in front of us, ready to be recognized if we open our hearts and minds. The story of a young man's awakening. Once, there was a young man in India diagnosed with a terminal illness and aware that his end was near. As he approached his final breaths, his mind filled with regret and fear. He thought about all he hadn't done, dreams unfulfilled, and all the wealth he'd spent a lifetime accumulating. He felt overwhelming sorrow and fear. When he passed, his soul was brought before the Buddha. Buddha appeared, holding an empty basket, and looked upon him with a compassionate smile. The young man, eyes filled with regret, asked Buddha, "Dear Buddha, my life was so short. I had so much left to do, so many goals I hadn't reached. I can't leave the world like this. Can you tell me what's in your basket? Is it my wealth, the things I worked so hard to collect?" Buddha smiled and shook his head. "No, those things were never truly yours. They're material possessions that don't follow you after death." Surprised, the young man continued, "Then what about my memories, my joys, and my achievements?" Buddha replied, "No memories belong to time. They don't accompany you either. Time takes away everything you thought was yours." Still searching, the young man asked, "Then is it my talents, the skills I developed in life?" Buddha said, "No, your talents belong to the material world, where you use them to benefit yourself. They too do not exist when you pass from life to death." Finally, with a flicker of hope, the young man asked, "Then perhaps it's my family, my friends, those I loved and who loved me?" Buddha looked at him with deep compassion and said, "No, your family and friends belong to their own hearts, not to you. They cannot come with you after you leave this world." The young man fell silent for a long time, then asked, "Then what remains with me after all of this?" Buddha handed him the empty basket and said, "The only thing that truly belongs to you is your karma, the actions, words, and thoughts you created throughout your life, the kindness and compassion, or the selfishness and greed you nurtured will journey with you into your next life." The young man opened the basket and saw it was empty. He suddenly understood that he had spent his life chasing illusions, material things, and status, forgetting to nurture his soul and compassion, the only things that remained, impacting his destiny and future lives, were his actions and intentions. This story is popular in Buddhism. Next is a reflection from someone who believes in God, a woman who witnessed many deaths during the pandemic, which made her deeply question, what do we have left at the end of life? During the harsh pandemic, amid the fear of infection, many people left this world in pain and isolation. If I hadn't witnessed these scenes firsthand, I might never have fully grasped the fragility of human life. In recent days, I've been constantly asking myself, when life ends, what do we truly have left? In the ICU, many patients have fallen into a coma. Each day, I go from room to room, praying for these ordinary people from our city. They are from all walks of life, men, women, young, old, from those with fair skin and fine jewelry to those with weathered faces and modest appearances. The virus shows no discrimination. Everyone, regardless of wealth or status, lies equally vulnerable on their hospital beds, fighting for each breath. Perhaps the most painful thing many patients face isn't just the physical suffering, but the utter loneliness as death approaches. With no loved ones beside them, though they once had countless relationships and accomplishments, now they are left alone, facing fear and isolation. It's a feeling that's not easy to accept. Many people seem to have accepted their fate, passing peacefully, but I also see others struggling in their final breaths, as if something is still unresolved. I remember witnessing the last moments of a woman around 60 years old. Despite the doctor's efforts to revive her, she opened her eyes, looking around, seemingly searching for a loved one. She had shared with me earlier her worry about her family, who were also infected and isolated, and she'd lost contact with them. Now, All she saw around her were sterile white walls and strangers' faces hidden behind protective gear. Her eyes were full of sorrow, and when the ventilator finally stopped, she left, her eyes still open, filled with a deep, haunting sadness. How fragile life truly is. In this place, I've come to realize that the line between life and death is as thin as a blink of an eye. Someone may be here today, but gone tomorrow. They leave with empty hands, just as they entered the world, leaving behind all their fame, status, wealth, and beauty. Nothing material follows them into eternity. The Lord's words remind me, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Indeed, when the door of this life closes, my only hope is the mercy of God. All worldly things remain here, but the acts of kindness I accumulate each day are the true treasures, the only companions I will have as I stand before God. What do we truly have left at the end of life? This question serves as a precious reminder, urging me to choose treasures that never fade while I still have breath. The old chair of a father. In a small town on the outskirts of New England, there lived a family in an old wooden house. This family consisted of two brothers, Jack and Tom, and their father. Their mother had passed away when they were young, and their father, Mr. Martin, had raised them alone. He was a quiet, hard-working man, always ensuring a good life for his sons. In their house, there was an old wooden chair that Mr. Martin loved dearly. Every evening after work, he would sit in that chair, reading or watching the sunset from the window. To him, the chair wasn't just a seat but a place of reflection, where he pondered life and took pride in his two sons. Years passed, and both Jack and Tom grew up and moved away to pursue their careers. Their lives became busy with work and their own families, and gradually, they visited their father less often. Although Mr. Martin missed them dearly, he patiently waited, sitting in his old chair and hoping they would one day return. When Mr. Martin passed away, the house and everything in it were left to his two sons. Jack and Tom returned home to handle their father's affairs. In the house full of memories, they came across the old wooden chair where their father had spent so many days. The chair was worn with age, and they both thought it had little value now. After the funeral, Jack and Tom began discussing how to divide their father's belongings. Neither paid much attention to the mementos since they both had successful and comfortable lives. Tom, the younger brother, suggested, "The old chair is falling apart. Maybe we should throw it out and sell the house." Jack agreed, but before doing so, he decided to sit in the chair one last time. As he sat down, he felt a strange sensation, not from the chair itself but from the memories. He recalled their father sitting there in the evenings, telling them stories, fixing the chair when it broke, and showing his quiet love and care. Jack suddenly realized the chair wasn't just an old piece of furniture. It held part of their father's life, the quiet love and devotion he had shown their family. Jack turned to Tom and said, "We can't throw this chair away. It's more than just a chair. It's all we have left of Dad. It went through so much with him. It's tied to our memories of him." Tom listened in silence, remembering his father sitting in that chair, looking peaceful after a long day. He thought of all the family dinners when their father would always be the last one to stand up, quietly caring for them in countless small ways. They both realized that love isn't always shown through grand gestures or eloquent words, but often through the small, steady acts of devotion their father had shown for years. Now, every corner of the house, every item, had become a symbol of their family's love. The chair was no longer just an old object but a thread connecting them to their father, reminding them of the values he'd instilled: kindness, compassion, and unconditional love. They understood that life's worth isn't measured by success or possessions, but by the love we give to those around us. Jack said, "Dad taught us so much, but maybe the most important lesson was how to love others in quiet, unspoken ways. We got so caught up in our lives and careers that we forgot that sometimes the little things are what matter most. Tom nodded in agreement. Exactly. Dad's kindness didn't need words, but it was in everything he did for us. Looking back now, I realize how much we received from him without even knowing. From that day on, the two brothers not only kept the chair in the house, but also made a commitment to take better care of each other and cherish their family ties. They understood that love and kindness are life's most enduring treasures, things that will last even when everything around us changes, and they knew their father would always be with them in every breath, every moment of their lives, like the old chair, a silent legacy of love they would carry with them forever. The story ends, but the lingering message of love and kindness remains. It's not just for Jack and Tom, it's a reminder for all of us. Cherish and value the small things in life, for they are the true treasures, the things that endure when we look back on our lives. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.